Right. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to work towards completion of numerical problems which are extremely essential for the understanding of the concept of activity-based costing. Now, is my screen being shared? Is my screen being shared? Let me know if you can see the screen. Let me know if you can see the screen.
Yes,
Yes,
we
sir.
can see it.
Now, let's take a look at the question. Pelder Products Company manufactures two types of engineering diagnostic equipment used in construction. The two products are based on different technologies. The first product is based on X-rays and the second is based on ultrasound, but they are manufactured in the same factory. Felder has computed the manufacturing cost of the X-ray and ultrasound products by adding together direct materials, direct labor, and overhead cost applied based on the number of direct labor hours. At this present moment, overheads are applied based on direct labor hours. What is the meaning of overheads are applied on the basis of direct labor hours? Is the first doubt that generally comes to the mind of any student who has probably skimmed through 1400. And it is a calculation that most students generally tend to go wrong with. Now, please understand the meaning of this concept right here. For example, if I was to say that direct labor budgeted in rupees is equal to 100,000 and direct labor rate per hour is equal to rupees 100 per hour. Can you arrive on the total number of direct labor hours? I believe you can. How many hours do we have? We have 1000 hours. How many hours do we have? We have 1000 hours. Am I clear about this? Yes or no? How many hours do we have? 1000 hours. Now, if I was to say, just a second, I'll give you a proper example based on this ahead. Just hold on. If I was to say that factory overheads are budgeted, to be, for example, we have taken rupees, so I'll write it in rupees, rupees 7,000. Now, how many direct labor hours do we have? How many direct labor hours do we have? Direct labor hours is equal to 1000. So what is the rate of factory overheads per hour? It is rupees 7 per hour. What have we done? We have divided the budgeted factory overheads. We have divided the budgeted factory overheads by direct labor hours. I hope you are with me on that. We have divided the budgeted factory overheads by direct labor hours. Are you with me on that? What is the meaning of that? The meaning of that is that factory overheads are allocated on the basis of direct labor hours. Now, if I was to say that this particular job uses, let's say, 20 hours of factory overheads. So what are the factory overheads allocated to this job, your answer is 20 hours multiplied by rupees 7 per hour, which is equal to 140 rupees. This is the meaning of factory overheads being allocated on the basis of direct labor hours. Do we understand this concept once and for all? What is this concept? This is the concept of factory overheads being allocated on the basis of direct labor hours. Is there any doubt in this? If yes, please speak up. Is there any doubt in this? If yes, please speak up. Any doubt here? Any doubt here? Please, ladies and gentlemen, I would appreciate a response. I would like to keep some speed.
No, sir, all clear.
I would appreciate responses from you all. Is this clear? Everyone who's attending, is this
Yes,
clear?
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Take screenshots if necessary. Take screenshots if necessary. May I go ahead? I would request one of you to take screenshots. I would request one of you to take screenshots. Now, instead of doing the question that I was reading, let's go to question number 79. Instead of doing this question, I would request that we go to question 79. Why? Because I will be able to teach you, or rather, I would say, discuss this concept with you right here itself. Let's take a look at question number 79. Patterson Corporation expects to incur $70,000 of factory overheads and $60,000 of general administrative costs in the next year. This is the total expected that they are going to incur in the next year of what? Factory overheads and general administrative costs. The direct labor costs at the rate of $5 per hour are expected to be a total of $50,000. If the factory overhead is applied per direct labor hour, how much overhead will be applied to a job that incurs 20 hours of direct labor? Now, what does each one of these statements entail of needs to be thoroughly understood by the candidate before appearing for the exams. Now, what is the meaning of this? It expects to incur 70,000 and 60,000. So, expected overheads for next year. The first is factory, 70,000, and general is 60,000. You need to understand this. This is expected to be incurred for the next year. This is total that you expect you will incur in the next year. This is total you will incur in the next year. Please understand this concept very clearly. Please understand this concept very, very clearly. This question asks you, excuse me, this question asks you, how much will be applied to a particular job? They are asking you for a particular job. What are you supposed to calculate? You are supposed to calculate overheads to be applied to a particular job. Just a second. You are supposed to calculate what? Overheads to be applied to a particular job. What is the meaning of this? One job only. What is the meaning of this? One job only. Are you with me on that? Yes or no? To a particular job. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
This is total for the next year. I am asking out of this total, how much will be there for this one job? What is the thing? Out of the given total, comma, how much for one particular job? Out of the given total, how much for one particular job is what I'm asking. Now, what do we know more? Overheads are allocated on the basis of these overheads. These overheads are allocated on the basis of direct labor hour. They have to be applied per direct labor hour. They have to be applied per direct labor hour. Now, what is the meaning of this? Now, please understand. Now, please understand. Total direct labor cost $50,000. How much? $50,000. Labor rate per hour. Labor rate per hour. $5 per hour. Total direct labor hours. How many hours? 10,000 hours. How many hours are we looking at? We are looking at 10,000 hours. What is the meaning of this? Meaning of this is, while the labor will work for 10,000 hours, factory overheads and general overheads will be incurred simultaneously. They'll be incurred simultaneously. Now, please understand. The next thing that they are saying, is factory overhead budgeted rate is given to you as 70,000 hours. This factory overheads will be incurred for how many hours? Divided by direct labor hours. Why did I say direct labor hours? I said direct labor hours because these factory overheads of $70,000 will be incurred simultaneously as long as a period of 10,000 hours. Factory overheads and general overheads will be incurred simultaneously. So how long will factory overheads be incurred? 10,000 hours. How long will general overheads be incurred? 10,000 hours. As long as the labor keeps working, the overheads will keep getting incurred. Where the labor stops working, the overheads will stop getting incurred. Is this clear? Yes or no? Give me a thumbs up. Is this clear? Yes or no? Give me a thumbs up. Is this clear? As long
Yes,
as the
sir.
labor is working, the overheads will be incurred. Where the labor stops working, the overheads will stop getting incurred. Are we clear about this? Give me a thumbs up if you have understood. Everyone.
Yes.
Do we understand this? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Fair enough. Therefore,
Excuse me, sir.
yeah.
So that is $70,000 you have written hours.
So what is the rate of factory overheads? It is $7 per hour. It is $7 per hour. Now, similarly, can I say that general overheads, they are incurred how much? $60,000 divided again by direct labor hours, which are how many hours? 10,000 hours. What is the rate of general overheads? It is $6 per hour. It is $6 per hour. Now they are asking you a basic question that for a job which has 20 direct labor hours, how much, what overhead they are asking? If factory overhead is applied for direct labor hour, how much overhead will be applied to a job with 20 direct labor hours? Okay. Now you have a job which has 20 direct labor hours. So what is the factory overhead that will be allocated here? You are looking at 20 hours at the rate of $7 per hour. I'll just write down dollar more clearly. $7 per hour, which is equal to $140. Then if I was to say general overheads, they are going to be allocated at the rate of 20 hours at the rate of $6 per hour. So that is $120. So what are the factory overheads that will be allocated to this job? $140. General overheads that will be allocated to this job? $120. And if I was to say, what are the total overheads for a 20-hour job? Your answer will be 140 plus 120, which is equal to $260. Are we clear about this? Are we clear about this, ladies and gentlemen? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Does everybody understand this? Yes, give me a thumbs up if you understand it. Give me a thumbs up if you understand it. All right. All right. Please take a screenshot. Please take a screenshot. This is question number 79. So your answer here is 140. What I have done is 2 steps extra. So 140, I don't know what is your option number over here in your question. It is option number C for your question. So here your answer is option C. This is the answer you are looking for. However, we have done a little extra. We have gone ahead and we have done a little extra, right? Can I clear this, please? Is it okay if I clear it? Okay. Okay. Yes. Let us continue our discussion in the same light. Let us continue our discussion in the same light. Here, what is it that we understood from the previous question that we solved? We understood one thing, that for as long as the direct labor hours are incurred, for that much duration, your general overheads are going to be incurred. Your total cost of general overheads, your total cost of factory overheads, whatever your overheads are, divide that by the number of labor hours to arrive upon the overhead recovery rate, the overhead application rate. That rate you then apply to a job. So now here, what I'm going to make for you is a format for such questions so that it makes your life simple. So what is your step number 1? Step number 1, calculate always total direct labor hours. Calculate what? Total direct labor hours. In step number 2, calculate the budgeted overhead recovery rate by doing what? Take the total budgeted overhead, divide this by total number of direct labor hours. Total direct labor hours. What is this? This will be rate per hour. I will call this hashtag. Right? Now see what job you are on. In that job, see the number of direct labor hours. Here, what is your biggest clue? For however long the direct labor hours are there, comma, for that much time, the overhead will be incurred. Now, if I was to say the direct labor, for example, is for 4 hours. So it will be 4 hours multiplied by this hashtag rate. This is equal to overhead applied on the job. This is what you have to calculate. This is what is generally there in these type of questions. Are you understanding this? Yes or no? I have also given a format attached to your question. So with this, you will be in a complete position. I will say you will be in a very, very comfortable position to easily and comfortably finish off this particular variety of questions. Agreed or disagreed? Agreed or disagreed? I think it should be agreeable to you. I request that you, take a screenshot of this. I request that you take a screenshot of this. Assuming that the screenshot has been taken, I now go towards the question that I wanted to start off this lecture with, and that was question number 69. And that was question number 69. Shall I go there? Shall I go there? Guys, any doubts about this? Any doubts over here?
Yes, sir.
No, right?
No, sir.
Okay. Now let's come here. Pelder Products Company manufactures two types of engineering diagnostic equipment used in construction. Two products are based upon different technologies. The first technology is X-ray and the second technology is ultrasound. But they are manufactured in the same factory. So there are two different products that are manufactured in the same factory. Pelder has computed the manufacturing cost of the X-ray and the ultrasound products by adding together direct material and direct labor and overhead cost applied based on direct labor hours. This overhead cost is not based on any scientific method. It is rather based simply on the direct labor hours. The factory has three overhead departments that support the single production line that make both the products. So there are three support functions that are there to make the main production. What are the support functions? The support functions are engineering design, material handling, and setup. These three people incur the overhead costs, and these costs are going to be loaded onto the production function. We have to calculate what is the actual overhead to be allocated to X-ray and to ultrasound. Now, engineering design has a total cost of $6,000. Material handling has a total cost of $5,000. Setup has a total cost of $3,000. So total overheads that you have incurred as far as we are concerned are $14,000. Now, 50 units of X-ray are sold and 100 units of ultrasound are sold. Direct material used is 5,000 and 8,000. Direct labor hours used are 100 and 300. Earlier, what you were doing? You were doing everything based on direct labor hours as far as you were concerned. So this 14,000 was broken down on the basis of direct labor hours. Now, the direct labor cost is $4,000. So if I was to put it that way, if I was to see, what is the number of hours that is used for each item, I will then allocate this 14,000 on the basis of those many hours. Number of parts used is given, number of engineering changes are given, and number of product setups are given. The budgeted cost to manufacture one ultrasound machine based on activity-based costing method is what they are asking you. Basically, what you have to learn how to identify. You have to learn that your total overheads comprise of three items. What are those three items that your total overheads comprise of? The first thing that it comprises of is engineering design. Second thing, material handling. And third is a setup. Now here, you need to have this following thought process in your mind. We are doing activity-based costing. So here we have to identify the activity. Each activity will have a cost driver. Each cost driver will have a ratio in which we have to break something. Then we have got the amount of overhead, and then we have to allocate it to our primary products, which are X-ray and ultrasound. So I'll just write them a little away from each other. And we have to put them into our primary products. So what is the first activity that I see over here? The first activity is engineering design. Now please pay attention to this. The first activity is engineering design. This activity, what do you think engineering design could be based on out of these items? Would it be based on number of parts used? Would it be based on engineering changes, or would it be based on total product setups? In absence of information, you have to make your individual assumptions. So obviously the design of engineering, the cost of the total engineering designings, whatever are the designs, will be based on how many times are there changes in engineering made. Every time there is a change made in engineering, you need a new design. Every new change warrants a new design. Therefore, this engineering design of 6,000 is based on the ratio 2:1. Do you understand this concept? Yes or no? Please tell me that.
Yes, sir.
This is based on engineering changes. What is the ratio? 2:1. What is the amount of overhead? It is 6,000. Now this 6,000 is broken down as 2/3 and 1/3 between X-ray and ultrasound. Next up for us is material handling. Now, material handling can be based on either the number of parts used or the number of product setups or engineering changes. These are the three options. But material handling obviously relates to the number of parts used. Why? Each time you're using more parts, the handling cost automatically goes up. So material handling is based on what? Number of parts used. Are you with me on that? Yes or no? Are you with
Yes,
me on
sir.
that? There will
Yes,
be a
sir.
doubt that you will ask. How will we come to know in the exam? You're expected to practice. You're expected to practice. You'll have a test coming your way on Friday. You'll have similar and even tougher questions coming your way. You have to prepare yourself for these kind of questions. Now, what are we looking at over here? Over here, we are looking at material handling, which is based on number of parts used. Now, the number of parts that are used is 400 is to 600. So the ratio is straight away 4:6. I'm not wasting time in making it 2:3. Now, what is the total cost over here incurred? The total cost over here incurred is $5,000. Now, 5,000 multiplied by 4 divided by 10. So this is 2,000. And 5,000 multiplied by 6 divided by 10, which is 3,000. Next, we have setup. Next, what do we have? Setup. Setup is based on number of production setups. It is given in the question. Just a second. I'll just rewrite this properly. Number of production setups. It is given in the question that the ratio of that is 8:7, and the cost that we are looking at is $3,000. So 3,000 multiplied by 8 divided by 15, your answer here comes 1,600. And here it is 3,000 multiplied by 7 divided by 15. Your answer here comes obviously 1,400. Now, what is the total overhead allocated to X-ray? We are looking at 7,600 here, and we are looking at 6,400 over here. Ultrasound gets 6,400. X-ray gets allocated 7,600. Now, if we have to calculate cost per unit, we have X-ray and we have ultrasound. What are we looking at in X-ray? They have their material cost. They have their direct labor cost. And they have their overheads. Overheads is activity-based costing, 7,600 and 6,400. What about materials? Materials, as far as X-ray were concerned, were 5,000 and labor was 4,000. Given in the question, don't want you to get confused. 5,000 and 4,000 is clearly given in the question. No need to get confused and start frantically asking doubts. It is given in the question. Please see it yourselves. Convince yourself that we are not taking anything from outside. Similarly, it is 8 for material for ultrasound and 12 for material for direct labor. So it is 8 and 12. What is the total of this? This comes to 16,600 and this comes to 26,400. This is the total cost of production. This will be divided by number of units. What are the number of units for X-ray? 50. And what about production ultrasound? 100. So what is it cost per unit? 332. And over here it will be 264. So what is this? This is cost per unit. What is this? Cost per unit. Now I have solved the whole question. This question goes on a microscopic level to ask you what is the cost per unit as far as X-ray is concerned. So X-ray, if I have to calculate cost per unit, if I have to go on a per unit basis here, this total you will divide by 50. By how much? By 50. So divided by 50. And this total over here you will divide by 100 if you want to go on per unit basis. We have the opportunity of taking a look at that in our further questions. So I don't want you to get worried with respect to that. We will take a look and explore that in further questions. But this was your question number 69, totally analyzed. Now, what are they asking you in this question? I have analyzed the whole question for you. What are they asking you? The budgeted cost to manufacture one ultrasound machine. What machine? They want from you, they want one ultrasound machine. Using activity-based costing is how much? Your answer is 264. Arey, how 264? Where 264? Didn't we just calculate 264? Here you go, one ultrasound machine, option number B on your question number 69. I request you take a screenshot of this. It is very, very important. It is very, very important. And I am certain that this kind of question will certainly come in your exam because your exam support package is covered with at least 5 to 7 such varieties of questions, each of which we are supposed to do today. Please copy this down or sorry, take a screenshot. I want an immediate response when the screenshot is taken. I do not want to wait. Also, I request anybody who's finding it fast, please then and there interject. Don't feel awkward. My link will break, my flow will break. That is not more important than your understanding. I am here for you. So if you don't understand or you're finding it fast, please raise your hand, unmute yourself and speak up. Am I clear about this? Am I clear about this?
Yes, sir.
Please speak up. Don't hesitate. Don't hesitate. Have the screenshots been taken? Have the screenshots been taken?
Yes,
Sir, can
sir.
you explain me how the ratio scale? Yeah, why not? Why not? Take a look over here. It's given to you in the question. It's given to you in the question. What is the ratio of number of parts? 4:6. Number of engineering changes. What is the ratio? 2:1. Number of product setups. What is the ratio? 8:7. It's given to you right here. None of this has come out of my pocket. I have not done any calculation over here out of my pocket. Everything has been given to you. Am I clear about that? Right? Fair enough. So question number 69 is out of the way. I would like to go to question number 70. Take a look at question number 70. Interesting question. I would mark this question number 70 as important. When you're doing your revision for this particular chapter, question 70 is certainly a question you should spend 2 to 3 minutes on. Now, let us see. The chocolate baker specializes in chocolate baked goods. The firm has long assessed the profitability of a product line by comparing revenues to cost of goods sold. How you arrive on profitability? You take revenue and from that you subtract cost of goods sold. However, Barry White, the firm's new accountant, wants to use an activity-based costing system that takes into consideration the cost of a delivery person. Please understand that when you take into consideration COGS, the cost of a delivery person will not be taken into consideration. The question is why? Please understand. COGS comprises of opening stock plus purchases plus carriage inwards. plus wages minus any closing stock, that is your COGS. But cost of a delivery person is as good as saying carriage outwards. And please remember your basic 12th standard accountancy, if you can remember it. Carriage outwards is never written in the trading account. It is always written in the P&L account. Carriage outwards, freight outwards. These items feature in your P&L account, not in your trading account. Therefore, carriage outwards, delivery cost, freight outwards, these items are not a part of COGS. Hence, they are considered to be a part of overheads. Now, for a company that is calculating its profit by comparing revenues to COGS, will the delivery boy's cost be a part of COGS? Obviously, it is not. But now this new accountant, Barry White, says he wants to use an ABC that will take into consideration the cost of the delivery person. Now, the cost of delivery person has to be factored into the calculations. Listed below are the activity and cost information relating to two of Chocolate Baker's major products, muffins and cheesecakes, revenue and cost of goods sold. Right now, I am only seeing revenue and cost of goods sold. This cost of goods sold does not have the delivery cost factored in. Please remember, cost of goods sold does not have the delivery cost factored in. So the first statement that I will write for question number 70 over here is that COGS does not, into bracket, ever factor in carriage outward oblique delivery cost of finished goods. Why? Because these are P&L items and COGS is your trading account item, which is opening stock plus purchases plus carriage inwards plus wages minus closing stock is equal to COGS. So why are you going in such depth? Of course, yes, I'm revising the whole concept for you right here, because when you see this video, everything should come to you. Fadafat, fadafat, fadafat. Understood? Now, what are they saying? They are saying over here, now they are saying over here that this is the COGS. So tell me one thing. When I say 53 minus 26, so what is this? 53 minus 26, which is equal to how much? 27. Does this 27 of your gain, how did I get gain? See here. I have got with me revenue, which is 53. What is COGS? COGS is equal to 26. What is my gross profit? It is 27,000. This does not yet take into consideration the calculation of the delivery cost to be allocated over here. Now, for this delivery cost allocation, the company wants to use activity-based costing. The company wants to use what? Activity-based costing. Now, if it wants to use activity-based costing, the delivery cost must have a cost driver. What must it have? It must have a cost driver. What is the cost driver? The cost driver is the basis of allocation. What is the cost driver? The basis of allocation. Now, let us go ahead into the question. Let us go deeper. Now, delivery activity, it is given to us for muffins and cheesecakes. Let's take a look. We have got two items, muffins and cheesecakes, both of which I never really enjoyed. Muffins and cheesecakes. I guess the only cheesecake that I ever remotely enjoyed was a blueberry cheesecake. Never really enjoyed the concept of a cheesecake. Number of deliveries are 150 deliveries. Each delivery takes 10 minutes. Average length per delivery is 10 minutes. Now, please pay attention. Number of delivery. Here are 150 deliveries. Time per delivery, it is 10 minutes. So what is total delivery time? 1500 minutes. 1500 minutes. So total delivery time in hours, it is 1500 divided by 60. Your time is 25 hours. What is the rate per hour of delivery? Why are you calculating in hours? Somebody will ask me this very brilliant and innocent doubt. Very innocent question. My dear child, I'm calculating in hours because cost per hour is given for delivery. So I need to know how many hours of delivery I have worked. So I have worked 25 hours of delivery. I have worked 25 hours of delivery. Rate per hour is $20 per hour. I'll write it like this. $20 per hour. Therefore, what is the delivery cost over here to muffins? The delivery cost for muffins is $500. What is the delivery cost? It is $500. Now, similarly for cheesecake. Cheesecake has 85 deliveries, each taking 15 minutes per delivery, which will be 1275 minutes. If divided by 60, this will come to 21.25 hours. At the rate of $20 per hour, it comes to $425. This is the delivery cost for your cheesecakes. Now, please pay attention. I have muffin and I have cheesecake. Here I have the revenue. The revenue is how much? 53,000. The COGS is how much? 26,000. Now, what is going to happen is, this is going to leave me with 27,000 of gross profit. From this, I will deduct the delivery cost. What is the delivery cost? It is 500. So what will I be left with? I will be left with 26,500. Now with respect to cheesecake, my revenue is 46,000. It is given in the question. Don't get aghast or alarmed. 21,000 is the COGS. So I am left with 25,000. I am going to subtract from this 425. So I will be left with 25,575. These are the two items that I see over here. Now, if I was to compare both of these items, can I say that after allocation of delivery cost, muffin profit is $1925. How did I get 1925? Higher than cheesecake. After this, what is the difference between this? 1925. Let's hold on to our guns and let's see what is asked. The muffins are muffins are 2,000 more profitable. This is wrong statement. Incorrect statement. Cheesecakes are $75 more profitable. Again, incorrect statement. Muffins are 1925 more profitable. Muffins have a higher profitability as a percentage of sales and therefore they are more advantageous. Learn to identify the bullshit when you see it. It's a bullshit statement given to confuse you. All you have to do is calculate the delivery cost, allocate it to muffin, allocate it to cheesecake, and that's the end of your job over here. That's the end of what is expected out of you in this particular question. I hope you all understand this. And this right here is your working for this particular question number 70. And I think this is option number C that I did it on. So I request you all to take a screenshot. This is going to be an important question for you. Again, activity-based costing. Again, what is this? This is activity-based costing. I hope everybody has followed this question. Is there anybody who has a doubt? Please speak up. Don't think that you are going to break my flow, my momentum. There's a shooting going on. All of these are immaterial items. They are not as important as your understanding. If you have a doubt, please, I am urging you, speak up, ask me right now. Anybody with a doubt? Anybody with a doubt? Now, let's go to the next question. So question number 7. Now, see, I want to be very, very amply clear with you that when I look at activity-based costing questions, let me be very, very honest. In the mock test that I'm going to provide to you, I'm going to ask you horrendous questions on activity-based costing. Let me put it out there for you. Your activity-based costing is going to be a nightmare for you. So wherever I get the opportunity to discuss activity-based costing at a depth, I'm going to do it. Because I am very sure in this chapter, there are only a few calculations that can be asked. What are the calculations that can come in this chapter? FIFO, weighted average equivalent units, allocation of overheads, joint product, byproduct, activity-based costing. There are only 5 topics of calculation. How many topics of calculation? 5 topics of calculation. What are they? Again, equivalent units by FIFO, equivalent units by WAM. You can say allocation of overheads. You can say joint product, byproduct. You can say activity-based costing. Normal loss, abnormal loss, all of that I'm counting in equivalent units only. That's all process costing per se. That's all process costing per se. But activity-based costing is not process costing. Activity-based costing is a method of allocation of overheads. It's a different heading altogether. And this kind of questions are there. And I'm going to ask tough questions. Because since this is a numerical variety, IMA will ask you tough questions on this. IMA's level will be here. I want you to be ready at this particular level. So even if the paper comes tough, you have already solved something higher than the expected level of difficulty. I want to prepare you that way. And I give you a guarantee, I'm saying this on public record. Becker, Sargent, Gleim, Hawk, all these, Miley, Cyrus, Hannah Montana, I don't know what these study materials are called. They will not give you something tougher than the IMA. They will give you things outside this exam support package only. They will not give you anything tougher than IMA. If you want to beat the bowling of Wasim Akram, you have to do net practice with a bowler who is better than Wasim Akram. You have to understand this. Only then will you be able to beat him across the park. I want this to be remembered. Question number 71. Question number 71. Atmel Incorporated manufactures and sells 2 products. Now, there are 2 products. The data with regard to these products has been given to you below. What is this? This product A, where you have 30,000 units of it. This product B, where there are 12,000 units of it. Machine hours are required for product A and machine hours are required for product B. They are receiving orders per product line. There are production orders per product line. There are production runs and there are inspection. My dear friends, each of these items shows to me that they are nothing but a cost driver. They are nothing but a cost driver for a particular cost that has been incurred. If there is an inspection cost, my dear friends, it is driven. What is it? If there is an inspection cost, my dear friends, it is driven by what? By the number of inspections. Are you understanding what I'm trying to say? Yes or no? Please tell me that. If there is an inspection cost, it is driven by the number of inspections. Excuse me. Please forgive me. If there is an inspection cost, it is driven by the number of inspections. If there is a production run, it is driven by the number of machine setup costs. If there is an engineering cost, it is driven by the production. It is driven by one of the items in each of these. If there is a receiving order per product line cost, receiving costs are driven by receiving order per product line. Inspection costs are driven by number of inspections. So what am I doing? I'm identifying the activity. I'm identifying a cost driver with that activity. Now here, unit-based costing per unit of overhead allocation of receiving cost per product. They're asking you a very microscopic thing over here. I am not bothered about this. I am interested in the big picture. I will not waste my time just doing this one bullshit little thing that they have asked. I am interested in the big picture. So I want everybody to pay attention. First of all, I will say activity. This activity will be allocated based on driver. This activity will be based on a driver. There will be a particular ratio for this. There will be an amount for this, and this will be allocated to product A and to product B. That's what it is going to be like. Now, Let's begin. My first activity is that of receiving cost. What are all these guys over here? These guys are your activities. So I'll make a list of my activities first of all. My first activity is receiving cost. My second activity is engineering cost. My third activity is machine setup cost. And my fourth activity is inspection cost. Inspection cost is driven by number of inspections. Receiving cost is driven by receiving orders per product line. Engineering cost is based by production orders per product line, and machine setup costs are driven by production runs. Why? Because that's the logic. You have to have this. Somebody has to spoon feed this to you. Let me tell you this. Even at CA final level, this had to be spoon fed to us. Because we are not engineers. We don't work in a factory. We don't understand that machine setup is dependent on production runs. The higher the number of production runs, those many times you have to set up the machine. The higher the number of production per line, the higher the engineering cost. The higher the number of inspections, higher the inspection cost. Now, this is being fed into you. You will remember this. This will somewhere be memorized and be used by you. Now, receiving cost. Let's take a look at receiving cost. Please focus. Receiving costs are $450,000, and receiving costs are based on receiving orders per product line, which is 50 and 150. So 450,000 has to be broken in the ratio of 50:150. Please pay attention. Please pay attention. What is the ratio? 50:150. What is the amount? 450,000. 450,000 multiplied by 50 divided by 200, right? I'll just write this a little on the outer side, because as you know, my handwriting is very, very beautiful. It's a national treasure. And here it will be again 450,000 multiplied by 150 divided by 200. So what do you get here for A? For A, if I'm not mistaken, you will get 1,12,500. And for B, you will get 337,500. Now, engineering cost similarly is a total of 3 lakhs, which is based on production per product line. That is in the ratio of 12:18. Machine setup costs are in the ratio of 8:12 for a total cost of $25,000. And the inspection costs are based on number of inspections, which is 20:30. And the total inspection cost here is $200,000. Let us continue our journey ahead. Let us continue our journey ahead. Here we are looking at 300,000 multiplied by 12 divided by 30. We are looking at 120,000 over here. Then again, we are looking at 300,000 multiplied by 18 divided by 30. We are looking at 180,000. Now here we are looking at 25,000 multiplied by 8 divided by 20. So 25,000 divided by 20 multiplied by 8 gives me 10,000. So obviously here I'm looking at 25,000 multiplied by 12 divided by 20, which gives me 15,000. Here I'm looking at 200,000 multiplied by 20 divided by 50. I think this will get me to, if I'm not mistaken, 80,000. So 2 lakhs divided by 50 multiplied by 20. That will do 80,000. Must have said 80 lakhs by mistake. So 2 lakhs multiplied by 30 divided by 50 gets me to 120,000. What are the total overheads allocated here? Total of all of this, which comes to 3,22,500, and over here it will come to 6,52,500. Now, my dear friends, please understand what are the number of units of A. Given in the question, they are 30,000, and given in the question here, these are 12,000. What is the overhead per unit? The overhead per unit comes to 10.75, and here it comes to 54.375. This is not asked in the question. What they are asking you in the question is, receiving cost per unit with respect to A will be how much? So please pay attention. Please pay attention. Now here we have under A, we have receiving cost, we have engineering cost, we have machine setup cost, and we have inspection cost. Similarly, for B, we have everything. We have this machine setup cost and inspection cost. What is the receiving cost as far as A is concerned? As far as A is concerned, it's 1,12,500. What is the engineering cost? It is 1,20,000. What is the machine setup cost? It is 10,000. And what is the inspection cost? It is 80,000. Right? What are the number of units divided by number of units? How many units are there as far as A is concerned? Everywhere your answer comes to 30,000. Please be careful. We have to achieve something very, very interesting over there. So what is the per unit cost as far as receiving is concerned? 1,12,500 divided by 30,000. Your answer is 3.75. This is what the IMA is asking you. Don't stop at that much. That's stupid. That's bullshit that anybody can do. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in showing you something else. What am I inching towards? I'm inching towards this. Right? Oh, sorry. It's 2.67. What is the total of all of this, my dear students? Plus 0.33333333 plus 4 plus 3.75. If you will notice, the answer to this comes to 10.749999, which is equal to how much? 10.75. What I have presented to you here is a breakup of this 10.75. I have presented to you a breakup of 10.75. Similarly, dividing this by 12,000, 12,000, 12,000. Is 1.25, this is 15, and 3,37,500 divided by 12,000 gives me the answer 28.125. Take the total of all of these buggers. It will come to how much? 15 plus 1.25 plus how much is that last one? 10. And it's not a miracle that your answer is 54.375. What I've done is I've given you the individual breakups. Individual per unit breakup for each activity. They are asking you only this much in your exams. They are asking only this much, which is, I think, option number A of your question. But if you dig deeper into question number 71, this is the kind of practice you can give yourself. They are asking you only this now for A. You should be able to calculate all of these guys. Why? Because if they can ask you this, might as well ask you any of these items over here. They can ask you anything over here. Right? What if they ask you? What if they ask you? What is the total overhead per unit for A? Per unit, 10.75. What if they ask you what is the total overhead per unit with respect to inspection cost? For B, answer is 10 per unit. But whatever, you have now got an understanding how these figures have come. Are you with me on that? Yes or no? Give me a thumbs up.
So,
Does everybody understand this concept? Activity-based costing is going strong. Do we all understand it? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. I would like to now focus on activity-based costing only. This video is meant for that. Other things also are there. I'll take them up in due course of time. Have you taken the screenshot of this? Have you taken the screenshot of this? Yeah, I'm
Yes,
assuming
sir.
you did. It's a very detailed note, and I'm telling you, it's a good note. Huh? I'm not just praising it because I have made it. It's a really good note. And trust me, nowhere, anywhere in the CMA market you go, they don't do the whole sum. They just ask you whatever that small piece is, they pull it out and they throw it at you. And take this, go, next question. Do the whole question. Have the grip over the whole concept. That is what is expected. Please understand this. You should be like that in your approach. Can you explain engineering cost again? Why not? Engineering cost. Engineering cost is based on production per product line. It has a ratio of 12:18. Engineering cost is based on this. It has a ratio of 12:18. What is your engineering cost? 3 lakhs. So 3 lakhs has to be allocated to A and B. In what ratio? 12:18. 1,20,000. 1,80,000. A has how many units? 30,000 units. B has how many units? 12,000 units. This comes to 4 per unit, and over here this comes to 15 per unit, which in turn will be added to the other items as and when they come. Are you with me on that? Yes or no? The gentleman who had a doubt, mean how both are related to each other. This is an assumption that I made. This is based on my experience in teaching costing, and this is based on my understanding of the concepts. This is my studies as a student that helps me to understand that receiving cost is based on receiving orders per product line. Engineering costs are based on production orders. Production runs drive machine setup costs, and inspection costs are based on number of inspections. This you will come to know only by solving more and more problems. There is no other way of arriving upon these conclusions that I have arrived upon. Are you with me on that? Your doubt is genuine. Your doubt is genuine. I don't say it's not genuine. But you have to be somewhere, have little presence of mind that inspection cost is a cost. It needs a driver. Out of these items, which one can drive inspection cost? It can be driven by inspection. Now machine setup cost. Now machine setup cost. This needs a driver. What is the driver of machine setup cost? Number of production runs. Why? The higher the number of production runs, the more will be the setup cost. Engineering cost will be driven by production orders per product line. Higher the number of orders, higher is the engineering you require. Receiving costs. Higher the receiving orders, higher is the cost. So what are these guys? These are the cost drivers. And what are these guys? These are the activities. These activities have to be allocated based on what? Based on your cost drivers. What is this? This whole thing is activity-based costing. Are you with me on that? Yes or no? Please tell me. Does it help you? Does it help you? Sir, what is the ratio of theory and numerical calculation questions in the exam? See, there is a genuine answer to this question. I would say that you may expect somewhere around 40% sums and 60% theory, although sometimes this trend shifts. I have come across students who have had like 10 or 20% sums. I have had students who have had 70% sum. But on a general basis, it's 40% sum, 60% theory. That's what I understand. Are you with me on that?
Sir, including essay questions as well, or you are just
He's
talking
asking
about
about
the.
those 100 questions. Essay questions are a completely different ball game altogether.
Okay, sir.
Essay questions are a completely different ball game altogether. And tomorrow, I believe I would like to reserve your time for essay questions if you will allow it. I would like to specifically reserve your time for essay questions. Will you allow me to do that?
I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
Sure, sir. Sure.
It is essential because see, you will pass MCUs. I know you will get through MCQ. Then what you will do when you face the essay? You'll say that, I know we did not do this. It was not covered. Is that what you're going to write over there? There's to be a way to answer the essay, which is never covered by any coaching class. We have to cover it together over here. Because that is your success, the right essay question. Anybody who has scored good marks, right? We'll speak to Yash Shetty after some time. We'll come to know that he has very honestly and very nicely attempted the essay questions. Please understand. And I'll tell you about the unfairness of life. One girl yesterday reached out to me and said that she failed with 350 marks. Poor child. Passing is 360. I felt bad for her. I really felt bad for her. 10 marks. This girl has to again spend 25,000 rupees. Why? There is only one reason. No mocks. No mocks. Just watching lecture and going. Doing Becker MCU again. But give a mock. Understand yourself. How you'll do without that? See, for Apex Academics in CA, how many mocks are there? For everything, for every chapter, there are 2 mocks, and overall, there are 4 mocks. For something as CA Foundation, leave alone inter, leave alone CA final, what we are giving. Mock is essential. Now, this girl scored 350 on what? MCQ plus essay. Our student who was on our group, what she said? She said she did not get through. She did only MCQ and she scored 310. Are you understanding the lack of support this child has received? If an email was written for this student, I would like to believe that this student would have probably been scaled up to somewhere around 360 marks. Or she would have been given at least a re-exam or a refund of exam fees or a credit of exam fees for next attempt. What is the meaning of that? Okay, you paid 25,000, some mistake was there in our server, chalo, next time you give the exam free of cost. This child would have saved 25,000 valuable rupees. Are you understanding where I'm coming from? That's the support you require. Are you with me, yes or no? So, where did this girl fall short? Essay questions. She did not fall short on MCQs. She did MCQs, she fell short on essay. That right there is an important aspect. Are you understanding? Anyway, let's go to question 75. Let's go to question 75. (74), 75, both are important. 75 is 78, I beg pardon. 78. Again, very interesting question. Let's take a look. Cynthia Rogers is the cost accountant for Sanford Manufacturing. She's preparing a management report which must include the allocation of overheads. Now, allocation of overheads can be done in at least 3 ways that I know of, that you know of. Direct labor hours, machine hours, activity-based cost. The budgeted overhead for each department and the data for one job are shown below. This is the data for one job, right? And the budgeted overheads are given to you. Now, tooling department in itself has a total overheads of 8690. Fabricating department in itself has a total overheads of 14080. This is the total overhead of that particular department. But there is this one job activity. What is that job activity? It is job number 231. This job takes 440 direct labor hours. And it takes 10 labor hours in I beg your pardon, this department works for 440 labor hours. Now, I would like you to understand a few concepts over here. What you have been given over here is you have been given total overhead cost of the department. This can be the tooling department, and the other one is called the fabricating department. What is this? This is the total overhead cost. Here it is 8690 and here it is 14080. This is the total overhead cost. My dear friends, direct labor hours that tooling department is associated with are 440 hours. and fabricating are 640 hours. What is the overhead rate per direct labor hour in the tooling department? It is 19.75, and in the fabrication department it is 20. Now what is a job? A job is a commodity or a production unit to which overheads have to be allocated. It's an item that you produce. It is not a regular item. It is a job. It is special in its own self. Now, this job number 231, this order that they got, how many hours did this job work? It worked 10 hours in the tooling department. So what are the overheads allocated to it? Out of this 8690, 197.5 has been allocated to job number 231. So out of 8690 overhead cost, 197.5 is allocated to job 231. Now here, job 231 in the fabricating department works for 2 hours. So here you are allocating $44. Out of how much? Out of 14080. So out of 14080, comma, $44 are allocated to job 231. Are you with me on that? Yes or no? Are you with me on that? Yes or no? The question in the CMA question bank is asking you this. This I did for you extra. Let's take a look at your question. Let's take a look at your question. See here, 10 hours, 2 hours. So all you had to do in this question was just divide 8690 by 440. Calculate the rate per hour and multiply it by the number of hours. Ask yourself, is this not similar to the first item that we discussed in today's day? I gave you a format also, and I told you copy this down, this hours divided by that hours. I gave you a format, a shortcut format of working, right? That was nothing but what I applied over here. That was nothing but what I applied over here. I hope you're with me on that. So now it's 30K after applying the coupon code. I don't understand. What are you talking about? Exam fees are 30K. Awesome. Exam fees are 30K. Well, best of luck. I hope you take the mocks. Spend 2,500 and save yourself from a loss of 30,000. That's the way I put it. Ensure yourself, get everything revised again. Whatever is that classes don't cover, those concepts, get them done here. Here there is no censorship. There is no, I don't think there is any, what do you call it? Any restriction. Here it's pretty much for you, by you. It's like a democracy, of the student, for the student, by the student kind of a thing, right? So yeah, it has got no business aspect to it. It has only your success aspect. So well, think about it. So this was your question number 78. Now an interesting question number 74, which again you will mark as important, will be discussed with you now. Very interesting question. Superb question.
The screenshot is not taken.
I beg your pardon.
And screenshot is not taken.
अभी वो नहीं आएगा स्क्रीनशॉट. वो गया, मैंने बीच में कुछ तो और लिख दिया था, वो बच गया.
Done, sir.
One of my students was saying to me yesterday on phone call. So she said that I take your handwriting, I go to the local chemist, she said. Only he can read it. I said, don't worry, you will also become a pharmacist by the time you're done with your CA foundation. Right now, manufacturing company uses a standard costing system that applies overhead based on direct labor hours. Okay. Manufacturing budget for the production of 7,500 units is shown below. My dear friends, first of all, understand that 7,500 is budgeted production. This is a static budget. For these 7,500 units, these are the budgeted costs. What are these? During the month, 8,000 are actually produced. What is this? Actual. Now you only tell me one thing. What should your flexible budget be for? What should your flexible budget be for?
So it should be for 8,000.
Perfect. Why? Your budget, now 1 second. Your budget is for 7,500. Your actual is 8,000. So you have to make a flexible budget for 8,000. How can you compare 7,500 with 8,000? That same old discovery, that same old, stale argument is there. Now see here. Static budget is drawn for 7,500 units, whereas actual performance is 8,000 units. Hence, a flexible budget has to be drawn up for 8,000 units at what? Actual output multiplied by what? Standard price, as is the story everywhere. And we have done this in our second video, normal costing, standard costing, actual costing. I hope you have not missed it. If you have missed it, it's available on the YouTube channel. Wait, there's some mail. Yeah. Leave. Leave. Just a second, guys. Yeah. Now. During the month, 8,000 units are produced and the fixed budget overhead variance was $1,000 unfavorable. Very interesting. Very interesting. Direct labor hours are 15,000 hours at the rate of 20 per hour. It takes you 3 lakhs of direct labor, 50,000 of variable, and 1,05,000 of fixed overheads. During the month, 8,000 units are produced and fixed overhead budget variance is $1,000 unfavorable. Fixed overhead during the month is how much? It is under applied, it is over applied, whatever. I'm not bothered about that. I will not even look at that right now because that is going to cause a confusion in my mind. I am going to come and I'm going to calculate what is my predetermined overhead recovery rate. The predetermined overhead recovery rate is going to be my total overheads divided by the number of direct labor hours. How am I going to calculate this? My dear friends, it is given to me very clearly in the question that fixed overheads are based upon direct labor hours. Look at the second screenshot that you have taken. It will be total overhead divided by direct labor hours. Yes or no, you tell me. Is the second overhead number 7 you have taken it? Number 7 you have taken it. If you have a laptop, share your screen and let everybody see it. What did I say? It will be by overhead divided by basis. Basis here is direct labor hours. It could be machine hours, it could be anything. It doesn't matter. But it will be 1,05,000 divided by that number of direct labor hours. Are you with me on that? Yes or no? Please tell me. Are you with me on that? Did you understand what I just said? Did you understand what I just said? Number 7, please put up that second screenshot. Put it up, please. Please put it up. Share the screen.
Sir, it's showing disabled. Who disabled the screen sharing?
1 second. Wait a second. Here, now do it. Yeah, go to the second one. Second screenshot. Here you are. Go up, go up. Up. No, no, no. Go, go. No. Yeah. Format, format. That one, that one. The fourth slide. The fourth slide. Yes. Total budgeted overheads divided by total direct labor hours. Why? Because your overheads are applied, allocated on the basis of direct labor hours. If this was machine hours, I would divide this by machine hours. Are you understanding? And I will calculate an overhead rate per hour. Overhead rate per direct labor hour worked is what it is called. That will be multiplied by number of hours that the overheads are being incurred. It is so easy. It is so simple. Exact same thing. You can stop sharing now. Exact same thing. Exact same thing I am doing over here. Exact same thing I'm doing over here. You can stop sharing now. Yeah. Exact same thing I'm doing over there. Right, guys? Now, let's pay attention. Let's pay attention here. So, what am I saying? I am saying that I will have to rewrite the statement because in most all likelihood it will be lost over here. So, I am saying that a static budget of 7,500 units was drawn up, whereas there is an actual performance of 8,000 units, which is the actual performance of 8,000 units, and hence we have to draw up a flexible budget of 8,000 units, which is equal to actual quantity multiplied by standard weight. Now, total direct labor hours are equal to 15,000. The units originally budgeted by you are 7,500. So hours per unit is 2 hours per unit. This is your original. Also, what was your predetermined rate per hour? It was 1,05,000 of the total cost divided by 15,000 hours. So it is 1,05,000 divided by 15,000 hours, which is equal to $7 per hour. Now, what are the standard labor hours required for 8,000 units? Handwriting, please. It is 8,000 units multiplied by 2 hours per unit, which is equal to 16,000 hours. Now, you need to understand one thing. What is the flexible overheads charged for 8,000 units? They are 16,000 hours at the rate of $7 per hour. 1,12,000. What are these? 1,12,000. These are applied overheads. Question says fixed budgeted overhead are 1,000 adverse. What is the meaning of this? It's $1,000 is spent more than budgeted. What was budgeted? 1,05,000 was budgeted. Add 1,000 adverse. What is this? 1,06,000 is spent. What is your spending? 1,06,000. How much did you recover? This is your recovery. How much you spent? 1,06,000. So by spending 1,06,000, you got an output of 1,12,000, which shows that 6,000 was over applied, over recovered. So you can say applied to production 1,12,000. Actually incurred 1,06,000. And what is this? This is an over application of how much? 6,000. And this is your answer. This is an over application of how much? Over application of 6,000. And that right there, my dear friends, is your answer. It's an over application of 6,000. That becomes your answer. I hope you're with me on that. I hope everybody understands this. And there are no doubts in this particular concept. Please read this question carefully. Please go through this question carefully. This is an important question. Take a screenshot. We are looking at question number 74. What are we looking at? We are looking at question number 74. We are looking at question number 74 in this. Yeah. Yeah, go on.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Sir, in this 74th question, we have calculated hours required to produce 1 unit. Am I right? That is 2 hours per unit.
Yeah.
So, sir, in the question, it's given for 7,500 units takes 15,000 hours in total. So, for 8,000 units, can't we just cross multiply and get the 16,000 hours?
Yeah, you can.
That was my doubt, sir.
Yes, you can. But if you do that, you will never arrive upon the standard hour rate per unit.
Yes, sir. Got it.
Don't you need to know what is the standard rate for making 1 unit?
Yes, sir.
Don't you think you should do this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, sir, I was just asking that shortcut method.
This is the shortcut. This is the shortcut. Right? Thank you. Question number 83.
So here, beside the budget, you have written it as 1 lakh or 1,05,000 plus 1,000 adverse, which will give you 1,06,000, right?
Yes.
Okay. And this 105 is given in the question, which is budgeted. Okay. Okay. Got it.
1,12,000 I calculated. 1,06,000 also I calculated. Shall we go to the next question?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sorry. Any doubts?
No, no, sir. No doubts.
Question number 83. Atmel Incorporated manufactures and sells two products. The data with regard to these products are given below. There are two products A and B. 30,000 are produced and sold for A, 12,000 are produced and sold for B. The machine hours required per unit are 2 and 3. The receiving orders per product line are 50. Production orders per product line are 12. Production runs are 8. Inspections are 20 and 30 respectively. The total budgeted machine hours are 100,000 and you have been given a total budgeted overhead. Now, similarly, they are asking you the cost driver for the engineering cost is the number of production orders per product line. Engineering cost, it is clearly given to you, it is number of production orders per product line. The rest, I can understand myself that production runs are going to drive machine setup cost and inspections are going to drive inspection costs, right? They're the drivers. Using activity-based costing, the engineering cost per unit of product B is how much? Now, of course, I am not going to do only that much limited. I'm going to do the whole question for you. I'm going to break it down into, various calculations. But what you need to understand is here is that they have given you the total budgeted machine hours as 100,000. Now, what you need to understand over here is that a allocation of the overhead based on machine hours also can be comfortably calculated by a candidate in the examination. Allocation of your budgeted machine hours can be done comfortably by a candidate in the examination, and somewhere this 9,75,000 breakup can be done on the basis of machine hours used in the entire process, which is not what the question wants you to do. It wants you to do activity-based costing because it is a far more informed, a far more, I would say, transparent, a better way of doing doing cost allocation. I'm not saying no to that, but I'm trying to use these words. I'm talking so much rubbish. Why? Because I want you to understand that this budgeted machine hours 100,000. You can do a calculation of the apportionment of these overheads 975 on the basis of these 100,000 by using the ratios over here. Now, this I'm giving you as a homework. Calculate the budgeted overheads by using the applied overheads. Calculate the applied overheads based on the budget on the basis of machine hours. On the basis of what? Machine hours. This is a homework that I'm giving to you. Anybody who does it well and good, it is very, very essential that you do. It is an important concept for you to deal with. Now, I'm going over straight away to activity-based costing. I want you all to pay attention to my calculations. Now, in this question, we have got certain activities. We have got certain drivers.
Excuse me.
I'll write that properly. We have got certain drivers. We have got certain amount. This will be broken down into a ratio and it will be allocated to the product A and allocated to the product B. What are the activities? They are receiving cost. What is the driver? It is receiving order per product line. What is the amount? 450,000. What is the ratio? 50:150. Now, allocated over here. How much does this come to? This will come to 1,12,500. Next, engineering cost. Number of product runs. Production orders. What is the cost? 3 lakhs. What is the ratio? 12:80.
So we did this full sum in question number 71.
Right? What have we done here? We have achieved a total allocation. Now, see here. What is the total cost? Here it will be 320 to 500. And this total will come to 650 to 500. Divided by number of units. Actually, they have taken the same numbers from the previous example, if you notice. Same numbers they have taken. What are they asking you? They are asking you all of these calculations. They have taken the same numbers, they have just changed this. What are the receiving orders for B? 3,37,500. Of course, divided by how much? 12,000. How much it is per unit? 28.125. Next is engineering. This is what is asked in the question. What is the engineering cost? It is 1,20,000 divided by, it is 1,80,000. Here it is 1,80,000. I took by mistake this, it is not, it is 180 divided by 12,000 units, which comes to 15 per unit. So your answer is 15 in this question. And then you come to machine cost. Machine cost is, if I'm not mistaken, how much? I can see it 15,000 divided by 12,000. So it is 1.25. And finally, you have inspection. Inspection is equal to 1,20,000 divided by 12,000, which is equal to 10. Take a total of all of this. Your answer will be how much? 54.375. So they're asking you how much it is this much. It is question number 83. The answer is 15. Go for the right alternative. That's how you do it. You have already done this. I've sort of repeated the calculation. You'll have to pardon me for that. But our calculation related sums for this chapter on activity based costing are over. Now theory questions on activity based costing begin. Please take a screenshot. Please take a screenshot. How many of you are understanding this properly? Give me a thumbs up. How many of you are understanding properly?
So the extra which you have asked is on the basis of the production hours, right?
Yeah.
So instead of dividing by the units, we'll apply the production hours. That would
Yeah.
be the difference, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. Now we come to certain important questions. Let's come to question number 81. I would like to see how your brains work on this. Now I will show you the difference between quality and show business. I want you to hold on. Just hold on 1 second. I am sending a picture in your WhatsApp group. That's for question number 81. That's the explanation that you should be writing. What is that? That's the explanation that should be written. Let's take a look at what is this 81. No? Look at what the IMA is giving you. And this is exactly the amount of explanation that they give you in your Baker and Sargent and your Wiley and your Gleim and all that crap that you buy. Why is that crap? That is crap. Because none of them is complete. None of them is a guarantee of passing. They're all equally bad. It's like comparing two brands of cigarettes. Both are going to make you really, really sick. I mean it. Right? Now look at the model solution that I have drafted for you for your batch versus what IMA has given you. What will a student understand when he or she reads this while revising? Whereas if you write the model solution that I have, with the help of this model solution that I have, you will be able to write essay answers also. You'll be able to do what? You'll be able to write essay answers also. Take a minute and look at the depth of that answer. Take a minute and look at the depth of that answer. Are you with me? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Can one of you please share the screen? Can one of you please share the screen? I'll give you those rights here. Can the person taking screenshots, I think it's number 7. If you have received it on WhatsApp, if your WhatsApp is on in your laptop, do you mind sharing the screen with the picture? Do you mind sharing the screen with the picture? It will save us time. Yeah, zoom into it. Zoom in more. Yeah, good. Now come down, scroll down. Okay. Now let this be here. Do Alt Tab and go to the question. Do Alt Tab and go to the question. Your PDF is not open for exam support package. Do you have that? Number 7, do you have that?
Doing it.
Yeah.
Sir, screen share is for is I have to close that WhatsApp.
Just a second. You stop your sharing. It's okay. You stop it. Just a second. Hold on.
Is that okay, sir?
Beg pardon? Yes, yes. You got the right one. You got the right one. Now, can you go to the question number 81? Question number 81. Henry Manufacturing uses direct labor hours to apply overheads to its product line. It has undertaken an extensive renovation and modernization program 2 years ago. Manufacturing processes were re-engineered considerable automated equipment was acquired and 60% of the company's non-union factory workers have been terminated. Which of the following statements should apply to the situation at Henry? Now, please understand one thing. A company has two types of labor, unionized and non-unionized. What is the meaning of unionized? They have a union, something based on the ideals of common good, whereby they have a union leader and they all collectively can bargain for better working conditions, better wages with the factory owners. Generally, more often than not, under the pretext of protecting their rates, it is just a blanketed way of doing vandalism and hooliganism. That is what is the harsh reality of these kind of unions. Harsh reality. They are just a blanket of hooliganism. There is no other word for it. Then they go on a union labor strike and stupidity, and then they destroy company property. Anyway, so what is that? There's a union. Now, the fact that there is a union, understand that 60% of non-union labor is terminated. Unionized labor is there. Now, please understand this logic that I'm telling you right now. Union and management will argue and debate with each other what is the rate that you are going to give to the laborer at the very starting of the year. So the management will budget based on the rate agreed upon with union. So there will be very, very less difference between the actual rate and the budgeted rate, because the budgeted rate more often than not will turn out to be actual rate in case of such companies, because they have more of unionized production. Do you understand this concept? Yes or no? Please tell me that.
Sir, explain again.
Yes. Please stop sharing your screen, number 7. Please stop sharing your screen. Thank you very much. Give me a minute, please. Thank you. Now, when you have a union, this union will bargain with management with respect to wage rate. And one rate will be agreed before start of production. My dear friends, a rate that is there before start of production is the standard rate that is compared with the actual. So where there is union in most cases, standard may end up being equal to actual because it is always a predetermined rate. Why? Because without an agreement on this rate, the laborers will not start working on it. Are you understanding what I'm trying to say? When you have a union, you'll have a union leader who will go and bargain with the CFO, the CEO, the CXO, the CO. He'll bargain with them. He'll say, no, my laborers will not work if you're paying this much, that much. They'll bribe him, they'll do this, they'll do that. You know, he will fight for them. Falana Dimka. At the end of the day, there'll be a rate that they agree upon. This agreed upon rate is the rate that they have agreed to do the production at before the production has started. So it is as good as a predetermined rate. Therefore, standard and actual will more or less be equal to the same because they will be working on the predetermined rate. This is what I said. Mr. LD, Mr. Dandinur, have you understood this? Yes or no? Please tell me.
Yes, sir.
Right? Now, please understand. This company has done a lot of capex. What is the meaning of capex? Capital expenditure. What is the meaning of capex? It has done a lot of capital expenditure. So it is from this perspective that my next comment comes to you. I would like to take you to Right. Now. Let's come here. Get rid of this. Come here. Make this bigger. And let's focus. Considerable equipment has been acquired. Hence, the overhead of equipment depreciation has been added. Further, we have to assume that specialized machines will need specialized operators and who have to be paid a fixed salary, resulting in increase in the factory overhead. Do you understand this, what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to say that you have purchased new machines. So obviously your depreciation will go up. If there are new machines, you need a specialized operator. If you need a specialized operator, your fixed overheads will go up. Your fixed overheads will go up. So the company's factory overhead rate is likely increased. That is your first option, is a right option. Why has it increased? With an increase in depreciation and with an increase in even wages has to be considered. IMA ideal study material only takes into consideration depreciation. They have conveniently ignored the fact that with new specialized machines, you need newer specialized handlers of those machines. Machines are not in Harry Potter. You wave your wand and the machine will start working magically. No. If there is a machine, you need to have a specified expert of running that machine. That expert will take his or her salary. That salary is a fixed cost. Because of that, your overheads increase. Because of this, the factory overhead rate is going to increase. Why? There is added depreciation and there is added salary cost. This added salary cost aspect is nowhere mentioned anywhere. Not in your baker who has just copied this like a beggar. I don't know about Sargent. They are the same twin brothers of each other. But we are analyzing it. Boss, I'll tell you one thing. Allah has given me my own brain to use. Let me use it. No. Why should I rely on somebody else's hard work when I can do my own thing? So easy, so simple. Are you understanding what I'm trying to say? Yes or no? Please tell me that. Use your mind and get it done. Why you have to worry and copy from somebody's study material? Are you with me? Yes or no? Focus. Focus. My argument is not done. The use of direct labor hours is appropriate. It is absolutely inappropriate. Why? Earlier your production was labor based. Then what did you do? You fired some laborers. You fired some laborers. And after that, what did you do? You got new machines. You got new machines. If you have new machines, now labor related is not okay. You need to have machine hour rates. The use of direct labor is appropriate. No, use of direct labor hours is not appropriate. The company is going from a labor-oriented process to a machine-oriented process, and hence direct labor hours will not be accurate. Machine hours should be used. Third, what is the third one they are saying? Hold on. Third one, what they are saying in the third one, please pay attention. They are saying in the third one, there will be a lack of the ability to calculate labor variances. This is a wrong statement. Why you can't calculate labor variances? Do you know your budgeted? Yes, sir, I know my budgeted. Do you know your actual? Yes, sir, I know. Then calculate variance. What is this? Who's stopping you? Somebody has put a gun to your head or what? And says, if you do this, I'll shoot you. It's bullshit. A company will always be able to calculate labor variances. A company which cannot show you an inefficient third-class management, keep that much in mind. Further, it must be appreciated that the company has a higher number of unionized workers where the labor rates are predetermined with the labor union prior to starting the production. Hence, the chance of a variance can be low, which does not mean that variance cannot be calculated. The fact that there is the use of a word unionized has not been properly explained by your Institute of Management Accountants of America. You know, it has not been explained properly. What is the meaning of unionized? Unionized means there is going to be some kind of a accord between both these people that, okay, chalo, keep the union happy, union will keep the factory happy. That has to be seen. Finally, reduced ability to cut cost. This is true. Your company has reduced its ability to cut costs. Why? Now all costs are machine oriented and fixed, and hence they cannot be cut. Why? How can you cut costs with respect to depreciation? How can you cut costs with respect to fixed overheads of machine operation? You cannot do it. Further, there is a higher proportion of unionized labor. If the labor is unionized and you cut their salary, you know what they will do? They will sit down like this and they will start yelling, "Hamari mange puri karo, Pushkar, hi, Pushkar, hi, Pushkar, hi." Are you understanding? शैतान का चेहरा कैसा हो, पुष्कर अधिकारी तेरे जैसा हो. That is what they will do sitting outside the factory. If you cut their wages, they'll go on a fucking strike and they'll screw up the factory. Are you understanding what I'm trying to say? They'll totally screw up the factory. So if there is a unionized labor, the question of cutting their wages does not arise. They will totally bring you down. Hence, the ability to cut costs is further reduced. Why is the ability to cut costs further reduced? Number one, you have higher amount of fixed overheads, which I have written, of course, in my handwriting. Plus, there is unionized labor. Plus, there is what? Unionized labor. Both of these, because of this, there will be a reduced ability to cut the costs. This is important for you to understand. Therefore, statement number 4 and statement number 1 are correct, and statement number 2 and statement number 3 are incorrect. You need to understand this concept. Why is 1 and 4 correct? There is the reason for 1 and 4 being correct. So the answer to this particular question is option number B. Only 1 and 4 are correct. And the reasons are given to you. I have circulated this picture. Now, while this picture may not be clear over here, just hold on for 1 second. This picture may not be clear over here, but if I can see over here, you can see it, no? On mobile, you can see, right? Like this. Are you with me on that? Are you with me on that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You're able to see it on mobile, right? Yes?
Yes, sir.
You're able to see it on mobile, right? So it should be good for you. So it should be good for you, right? Now I'm stopping this part of the sharing. I'm coming back to your this. I don't need this, right? This can go. Let's come back. So question number 81 has been dealt with. Question number 81 has been dealt with. Next, I come to question number 80. Question number 80 is again an interesting one. Again, there is an insufficient explanation given by IMA Institute and your study materials, but we'll have a good explanation. Departmental overhead rates are considered to be preferable to plant-wide overhead rates. What is the meaning of this statement? First, you need to understand. People should understand the question before they start understanding the answer. What are they saying? They are saying that a departmental overhead rate is better than a plant-wide overhead rate. That is the first thing they are saying. What is the meaning of a plant-wide overhead rate? Please understand. It is a single rate. It is a single rate, right? Based on a uniform or blanket approach whereby direct labor hours oblique machine hours are used for allocating the overheads. Basically, there is one rate throughout the factory. What is this? It is one rate throughout the factory. What is departmental overhead rate? Each department, 1, department 2, department 3, department 4, they will all have their distinct overhead rates. What will they have? They will all have their distinct overhead rates. Now, when there are multiple products, keep one thing in mind. When there are multiple products, right? Comma, it is not necessary that the products manufactured just a second. Can I make life simple for us? Please pardon me for 1 second. Give me 1 second. Just trust me for a second. People watching on YouTube may find it a waste. I don't care. Just hold on for 1 second, please. Just hold on for 1 second, please. I was hesitating from giving my handwritten notes for 2 reasons. My handwriting is not good, and second, I feel that as it is, people are attending this low. If they take the lecture, the notes, then the whole essence of the lecture is defeated. So that is why I was refraining. But it seems that it's needed now. Just let's hold on for a second. Departmental overheads. Each department will have its own rate. Each department will have its own rate on its own certain basis. What is a plant-wide overhead rate? A single rate based on something like direct labor hours, machine hours is used for all departments in the plant. It's a blanket rate. What is this called? This is called as blanket rate. Where there are multiple products or multiple production techniques, it is not necessary that the products manufactured will pass through the same department and use the same manufacturing technique. Why? There are diverse techniques with respect to manufacturing. So what happens next? Hence, each department will use its own unique rates. A plant-wide rate is always related to a singular cost driver, such as direct labor, direct material. Why? You will say that on the plant, we are apportioning overheads on the basis of direct labor or machine hours. We are not taking into consideration anymore. But when individual cost drivers cannot be determined, you will use a single plant-wide rate. There is no individual cost driver. You cannot determine an individual cost driver. Then how will you allocate the rate? See, you have an overhead. That overhead is driven by a cost driver. It makes sense, but there is no cost driver. What the hell are you going to do? You have to use this bloody single rate. Otherwise, how the hell are you going to, allocate this bloody overhead? You can't. You need to have either a cost driver. In absence of cost driver, just go for a single uniform blanketed rate. Are you understanding what I'm trying to say? So now with this, have you understood what I'm trying to say? Have you understood what these notes are saying? Everyone, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Who is this iPhone? Who is this iPhone? Who is this iPhone? iPhone, who is this? Can you unmute? iPhone? Can you please unmute? I'm requesting you to unmute. Who is this iPhone? I'm requesting you to sincerely unmute. Okay. The others, have you understood? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
The others, have you understood? Yes or no? Is there anything in this you want to discuss again? I'll happily take up the picture again. Are you understanding what we are trying to say? We are trying to say that if there is not a basis available, not a basis there to allocate, go for a single rate. Go for a single rate. Without a basis of allocation, you have to go for what? You have to go for single rate. Are you with me on that? Yes or no? Are you with me on that? Do you understand the concept? Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Next, what I'm saying is, where there are multiple products, they will have their own nuances. You cannot force them to use a blanket rate. They will then use it based on individual cost drivers. But then somebody asked a doubt, what if cost drivers cannot be located? If they can't be located, then you go back to a single rate. If the cost driver cannot be located, then you go back to a single rate. Are you understanding? Yes or no? Are you understanding? Are you with me on that?
Yes, sir.
Correct? So this is what? Question number 80. So what is the answer? The answer to this is option number D. Plant-wide rate is related to several identified cost drivers. No, a plant-wide rate is related to a single cost driver. Always it is single, something like a direct labor or a machine hour. Individual cost drivers cannot actually be determined with respect to cause and effect relationship. No, individuals can be recognized. There is a cause, there is an effect. What is the delivery cost based on number of deliveries? Simple. Cost drivers such as direct labor are the same overall processes. No, they are not the same overall processes. Each process has its own different cost drivers. So you cannot say that these statements are right. All these statements are wrong. This statement, however, is right that manufactured products do not pass through the same department and they don't use the same manufacturing techniques. Because of that, you will be preferred to use departmental rates. Why? Because methods of production differ from one department to other department. I hope you're with me on that. Are you with me on that? Yes or no? Please tell me. Yes or
Yes,
no?
sir.
Please tell me. Yes. Okay. Now I'm going to question number 82. Take a look at question number 82. Now, again, this is a good question. What are they saying? Jones Tax Company has three divisions: compliance, tax planning, financial consulting. Based on the provisional data presented below, which one of the following allocation basis for company expenses will be least negative behavioral impact on the financial consulting division manager? Leave that aside. Take into consideration what I am saying over here. Take into consideration what I am saying over here. Now see, look at compliance. Compliance has a revenue of 45 lakhs and it has variable expenses of 15 lakhs. So this comes to how much? 30 lakhs of contribution. Let's talk about tax planning now. Tax planning has revenues of 60 lakhs. I beg pardon. See, they have made a printing mistake. This is compliance, this is tax planning, and this is finance consulting. Tax planning is how much? 60 lakhs. Variable expenses of 37 lakh 50,000. What is the contribution that I will achieve over here? It will be 22 lakh and 50,000. The contribution is 22 lakh and 50,000. Next, what is financial consulting? Now, financial consulting in itself is 45 lakhs. Out of this 45 lakhs, 22 lakhs and 50,000 are your variable costs. So what is your contribution? Again, 22 lakh and 50,000. Now understand the funda over here. Understand the funda over here. They are saying that which one of this will have a least negative impact or a behavioral impact on financial consulting division manager. What is the meaning of this statement? You have to allocate a certain amount of fixed cost to each of these departments. Now they are asking you a question. If you are using revenue as a basis of allocation, will it be a correct way of allocating the cost? Now, if I was to take into consideration revenue, you need to understand that today I am having a contribution percentage. I am having a contribution percentage in compliance. I'm having a contribution percentage in compliance of 67%. What is the meaning of that? Contribution divided by sales upon 100, 67%. Here it is 37.5%. And here it is 50%. Here it is how much? Here it is 50%. Now understand one thing. Although I have the same revenues as compliance department, just on the basis of revenue, if you allocate the same amount of fixed cost, it is unfair on me because my contribution is lesser than this department. Just on the basis of revenue, if you allocate the same fixed cost, it will be unfair on my financial department because it has a lower contribution than this department, percentage wise. Contribution margin, if I was to take into consideration, the contribution margin here is 50%, here it is 67%. Now, if we go by contribution margin and if we allocate, that will result in what? A higher allocation of cost here and a lower allocation of cost over here. It is not negative, but overall it is an unfair thing. Why should you share it equally? Everybody's profits and everything are different. Sharing equally does not make sense. But take a look at this. Financial consulting has the least number of employees. If I say allocate fixed cost based on number of employees, it will be most fair to financial consulting. It will have the least negative impact for them. It will have what? It will have the least negative impact for them. For this also, again, I am sending a model solution. Then in your institute solution, today you see that and drop me a message that yes, our model solutions are good. I'm just making a photograph for you. And here I've sent you the photograph of model solution that I have prepared for you. This is model solution. Like how they do in CA exams. This is a model solution that you will use for the purposes of this particular question. I have explained this concept. I'm explaining it again if you want. If you want, let's go through this together. Just a second. I'll open up the model solution. Just a second, hold on. See here. We have got the revenue. You can see it on your screens. You can see it on your screens. You have got the revenues. You have subtracted the variable expenses. What are you left with? The contributions. Contribution percentage is contribution upon sales into 100. This is nothing but PV ratio. 67%, 37.5%, and 50%. Now please pay attention. Despite having lesser revenue than tax planning, comma, a higher amount of fixed cost will be allocated to financial consulting, hence it has a negative impact. Lesser revenue. Please understand. Despite having lesser revenue than tax planning, a higher amount will be allocated to financial planning over here. Why? Because the contribution is higher if you go for option number A, contribution. If you go for contribution, right? If you go by revenue, the same amount of fixed cost will be allocated to financial consulting as compliance. Why? Because they have the same amount of revenue. But you need to understand that compliance is more profitable because it has a higher PV ratio. So with a higher PV ratio, if compliance is more profitable, with a higher PE ratio, contribution is not fair. Why? You are giving equal allocation despite this person having a depth to absorb more cost. So ideally, based on this, you should giving more to compliance, but you are saying revenue. Why? Revenue is equal to dono mein equal. Doesn't work that way, right? Are you with me on that? Do you understand what I'm saying? That just because they have the same revenues does not mean that you can allocate the same cost over to them for a very, very simple reason. That end mein contributions are different. Now, equal sharing will have a negative impact as neither contribution or this is uniform. But number of employees, it has the least number of employees. Hence, a lesser share of the fixed cost allocation will fall onto it. And hence, it has the least negative impact. And hence, it has what? It has got the least negative impact out of all of the others. Are you with me on that? It has a least negative impact out of all of the others. Do you understand this concept? Yes or no? Please tell me that. Yes or no?
Yes.
Please tell me that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I am asking you honestly, you have the power to go on, or do you want me to stop? So, honest question. I have to do 5-10 more questions. I'm not saying no. Do some 5-10 more questions. What should I do? What should I do? Can you tell me if you are okay with going on? I want to go on. If you ask me, I want to go on. See, for a simple reason. I'll tell you why I want to go on. There is one person in this batch who is present over here who is going to appear in September. It is our duty to support that lady because she has to give her exams and pass. She is there. I have promised her. So I have to sacrifice you and I have to support her. Even if she is the only one in the college, you get angry and you leave. I have to support that lady. So my commitment is to her. So for her, I have to go on. So you can mind, but you have to forgive me. I'm going to support her. I'm going to go on. Okay. Now, I'm coming to question number 85. I want to do at least a few more questions. Once they are done, then I will stop. I want to come to question 85. Question number 85. Here you are. The management of ROX company wishes to encourage all other departments to use the legal department as the circumstances warrant. What does ROX say? As in when you need to use the legal department. To accomplish this, where should the legal department cost be? Should it be allocated on the basis of the actual hours used? if you do this, every department will avoid to use legal department. Why? Because whenever you use legal department, the cost of that department sits in your cost. So your department becomes less profitable. If you start allocating the cost of legal department into each of the department who's using its services, then each of the departments will become stingy, they will become miserly, and they will not use the legal department only. The company wants to encourage all the other departments to use the legal department. Means what? Legal is adding value. Legal is adding value, must be used by all. But legal is a cost center. So its cost falls on to all. Now, if the cost falls on to all, I will say, no, I don't need legal department. Go to hell. Arre, why you are allocating that cost to me? No need. Get lost. I am not using it. Suddenly, legal department will say, arre, that Pushkar is not using us. Okay, fine. This is wrong. He has to use. He has to be encouraged to use. Allocated to the users on the basis of budgeted cost and actual hour used. No. If it is allocated on the basis of budgeted cost, you will budget that each department will use it for say 160 hours a month. But in actual, they are using for 0 hours a month. They will show this as a favorable variance and say, hey, look, our expenses have come down. Look, we are so efficient. No, they will manipulate the books. Allocated to users on the basis of standard cost for the type of service provided. No, it cannot be allocated on standard cost. It has to go on actual cost. Why? Because the lawyers are working in a real-time basis. The legal executives are working on a real-time ground. So they have to be paid on a real-time basis. Absorbed as a corporate expense. What is the meaning of this? If it is absorbed as a corporate expense, compulsorily, it will be allocated to each department. Compulsorily will be allocated to each department. If we compulsorily allocate it to each department, what will happen is whether you use it or you don't use it, that department has to bear the cost of legal department. So what will the production department say? Arey, chodo na yaar. I say we are paying for it. Let me do one thing. As it is, it's going from my pocket. Chalo, let me take some advice. Arey, Baba, legal department, please come here. Please help me out with this here. I have a problem with my labor union. Help me what to do for them. Am I going as per the right labor laws? Legal department will help you to understand. Are you with me on that? Do you understand why absorption as a corporate expense is there? Because if you absorb it as a corporate expense, then what will happen? Every department will be forced to bear a bill, and where you are forced to pay for a service, you will want to use it. Please understand that. Imagine that you are forced to pay for a particular service. Then you will go there and you will take benefit of that service. You will start using that service. Are you with me? Yes or no? Please tell me that. Yes or no? Please tell me that. Come on, guys. Tell me. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Understanding? Model solution photographs will be circulated in your group. Don't worry. I am doing that for both 85 and 86 question number. I am circulating model solution for both 85 and 86 question number. I have circulated. It is your duty to go through these model solutions. I am giving you the model solutions. You have to read it and you have to take good use of it. Okay. That is your preparation for your essay. I am writing down solutions for you. You have to now do it. Now look at this. 86. Boston Furniture Company manufactures several steel products. Several steel products are manufactured. It has 3 production departments: fabricating, assembly, and finishing. These departments include maintenance, material handling, and designing. Currently, the company does not allocate service department cost to production department. John Baker has recently joined the company as the new cost accountant and believes that service department should be developed and charged to the production department for the services requested. If the company adopts this new policy, the production department manager would be least likely to do what? Request an excessive amount of service, replace outdated and inefficient systems, refrain from using necessary services, be encouraged to control costs. Now see, understand one thing. There is a service department. As a matter of fact, there are 3 service departments. and there is a production department. What does the company do? The company takes these costs and they directly put them into P&L. They don't put these costs to production. If they put this cost into production, then production will look less efficient. Production will look less efficient. I hope you're with me on that. Production will look what? Less efficient. I hope you're with me on that. Now what are they saying? They are saying they want to make sure that this service department go over here because they want to do activity-based costing. So what to do? Request, and if this happens, what is the production manager least likely to do? Means what will he not do? Request an excessive amount of service. If he requests an excessive amount of service, more service cost will sit on his head. If more service cost sits on his head, then he will look inefficient. So he is obviously not going to do this. Replace outdated and efficiency system. He will replace outdated and inefficient system. Why? Because he has to look efficient. He has to have more profits. Therefore, whatever is outdated, whatever is inefficient, whatever is I would say a revenue leakage, he will plug it so that he is able to show more profitability. So he will be least likely to know. He will be most likely to do this. Refrain from using necessary services? No. He will be most likely to use necessary services. Why? Without necessary services, how can he do the production? Be encouraged to control cost. He is least likely to be encouraged. No, he is most likely to be encouraged to control cost once this happens. Why? He will control the cost to ensure that his department is looking as the most profitable department in the organization. Are you with me on that? I hope you are. My dear friends, with this explanation, oh no. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 more questions left. Then with those questions, I would like to believe that ABC will be done. So now I'm going to 65, 66, 67, 68. Theory questions, not sums. Sums are over. Okay, theory questions. I'm bringing you to 65. Please pay attention. 65. A company's operations include a high level of fixed cost and they produce a variety of products. What type of costing system should be recommended? They have a high level of fixed cost and variety of products. If there are variety of products, means there are multiple activities with a multiplicity of cost drivers. If you use uniform rate, which is also called as a blanket rate, it will be inaccurate. Therefore, what rate should you use? You should use activity-based costing rate. Next, when activity-based costing technique, when using that, which one of the following department activities would be expected to use machine hours as a cost driver to allocate overhead cost? Plant cafeteria. It's a cafeteria in the plant. Will be functional as long as the direct labor keeps working. Machine setups. It has nothing to do with direct labor. It has nothing to do with not related to direct labor. It would be following department would be expected to use machine hours. So machine hours in the sense what? See, which one of the following would be expected? So see, it will be functioning as long as the direct labor keeps functioning. That is, machines keep functioning. Machine setup cost is not related to machine hours. It is related to number of setups. This is the cost driver. Material handling. It is not related to machine hours. Not related to machine hours. Right? Robotics painting. Now see, it will function as long as direct labor keeps functioning. That is, machines keep functioning. It is not related to machine hours. It is related to number of setups. Not related to machine hours. It is related to material. But robotics painting, robots are used for painting. Robots used for painting is a completely machine-driven activity. It is what? It is a completely machine-driven activity. Therefore, this will be allocated on the basis of what? On the basis of machine hours. Are you understanding? I'll repeat. See, plant cafeteria. How long will it work? It will work as long as the labor works. If the labor is working for more time today, the cafeteria person will stay with cup of tea, vada pav, patties, sandwich for a longer time. Why? Because these people after the shift will go and they'll sit there. They'll be like, "Arey, please give one cup of tea and give me some 2-3 biscuits with it. Let me have to go home. I'll just eat something and go. Very tired." They'll have that tea and then they'll go home. Why? The cafeteria will function on the basis of what? As long as the laborers work. It is possible that you have a machine-oriented shift. So as long as the machines are working, the labor is also working. So then the labor will say, "Arey, chalo, shift is over. चलो एक कप चाय पिला दो, थोड़ा पार्ले जी बिस्किट दे दो, then we'll go." Machine setups are nowhere related to machine hours. Machine setups are dependent on what? The number of production runs that you are going to have. How many times you want to produce, those many times machine will be set up. Material handling is nowhere related to machine hours. But robotics painting is related to machine hours. Why? It is a robotics, means it is machine centric. It is machine centric. And the fact that it is machine centric, it is used now. As long as the robot works, the painting keeps done. So robot is working, painting is happening. So the painting overhead will be based on what? Machine hours. Driven by what? The robotics. Driven by what? The robotics. So when activity based costing, which one of the following would be expected to use machine hours? Robotics, painting. All the others have their own way of going about. All the others have their own way of going about. Are you understanding what I'm trying to say? Here the answer is option number D. Here the answer is option number D. Are you with me? Again, model solution I will circulate. You want me to write it down on the screen for you? What do you want? You want to take a screenshot right now?
Yes, sir, screenshot.
I'll write it then. And I'll write it. Please pay attention. Plant cafeteria will be used by the laborers and will function as long as the laborers keep working. Therefore, direct labor is the best option for this. In case of machine-centric process, laborer will work, but they are saying this, so there's no need. It will cause a confusion in your head. So I'm not writing that. Plant cafeterias, that much is okay. Next, machine setup. What is machine setup? The total machine setup cost will be driven by the number of setups and not the machine hours. By what? By the number of setups. Machine setup cost is driven by what? Number of setups. Point number C, material handling. What is material handling? It depends upon the number or quantity of production runs. It does not take into consideration machine hours. Next, robotics painting. What about robotics painting? It is driven by robots here. It is driven by robots. Means it's outrightly machine driven. Outrightly machine driven. Hence, painting done by robots unit will be based on the number of machine hours. This is question number 66. This is question number 66. I hope you're with me on that. I hope you're with me on that. Right? I hope you're with me on that. Question number 66. Take a screenshot. Take a screenshot. And I am posting this in your group also. Because many people are saturated. They have left. I can't say anything to them. But here I have sent you model solution. I have sent you model solution as well. Right, guys? Yes? All right. With this, now there are two MCQs, 67 and 68. There are two MCQs, 67 and 68. A company is considering the implementation of an activity-based cost system. What will happen? It would gain an insight into the causes of costs because of activity-based costing. And all of the following are likely to be used as a cost allocation based in activity-based costing, except the cost of materials used to manufacture the product, because cost of materials used to manufacture the product are direct materials and activity-based costing is used for overheads. Number of different materials used to manufacture the product, units of material used to manufacture the product, number of vendors, these are all related to overheads, but cost of materials is actually direct material and it's activity-based costing. So we are taking into consideration overheads. I hope you understand this. With this, activity-based costing is finished. Activity-based costing is finished. There are theory questions that are there for allocation of certain service department cost and things like that, but that can be treated as a separate heading altogether. We will see whether we need to set up in the evening today again, and basis that we will take a call. I hope you're comfortable with the way this is going.